When I first saw the Five Nights at Freddy's movie, me and my friend were talking about how Mr. Cupcake could possibly be alive, and my friend told me that most likely Chica was somehow able to split Susie's soul into two pieces so that Susie could control Chica but also control Mr. Cupcake simultaneously. But now I'm doubting that's even the case. Let me explain. Currently, there is a theory going around that states that Mr. Cupcake isn't even possessed by a human spirit. And no, Mr. Cupcake is not a demon, if that's what you're thinking. I'm going to go with this. Mr. Cupcake is actually possessed by the spirit of Susie's pet dog. The Cupcake seems to be pretty loyal to Chica, as a dog might be, and even seems to hang out with her a lot of the time, but also moves freely of its own will. It growls like a dog and is pretty vicious. The first time we see Mr. Cupcake be aggressive is during the Faz burglary scene, in which Jeff, Hank, Carl, and Max go to Freddy Fazbear's Pizza and start wrecking the place. Naturally, this pisses the animatronics off, and they start dispatching everyone. Carl goes to the kitchen as he hears strange noises coming from the fridge, and he opens it to find Mr. Cupcake, who doesn't seem too bothered by him being there. However, he hears something behind him and turns back to notice that the Cupcake has just vanished. He hears a noise behind him yet again, and it's Chica holding Mr. Cupcake up. Mr. Cupcake glares at Carl before becoming very, very aggressive to the point where this cupcake launches itself at Carl, knocking him to the ground. Carl would let out muffled screams and cries as he desperately tried to get the giant cupcake off of his face, but to no avail. Carl would obviously die very quickly of his injuries. After seeing Bonnie kill Hank, Jeff hides inside of the security office. He looks at the cameras and notices that Bonnie, along with Chica, are now present on the show stage. The vent in behind the show stage is now open as Chica places the cupcake inside. Much to Jeff's horror, he hears movement in the vent behind him. He scrambles to cover the vent and barricades it with his body, only just managing to stop the cupcake from getting inside. Eventually, the cupcake gives up and disappears back into the darkness of the vents. During the movie's third act, while Mike is trying to protect his sister, Abby, from the animatronics, the cupcake would attack Mike, biting his ankle and dragging him down the hallway. Mike would cry out in pain as he desperately struggled to get the cupcake off of his leg. He successfully managed to kick the cupcake aside and gather himself before the cupcake stood back up and rushed Mike a second time. Mike brought out his stun rod, which the cupcake bit onto, causing a short burst of electricity, which rendered the cupcake inert for a short duration. After defeating the Fazbear Band, Vanessa, Mike, and Abby are then attacked by William Afton, wearing the Spring Bonnie suit. Seemingly sensing the presence of their master, the animatronics awaken once again to attack our trio of protagonists. However, Abby is able to quickly turn the animatronics against William Afton, who has manipulated them for potentially 30 plus years. The animatronics, now realizing that William is the one who murdered them and made them become the things they now are naturally very upset with William, surrounding William and staring him down. The cupcake flings itself off of its plate and violently attacks William, biting into his guts, tearing off a piece of the Spring Bonnie costume, triggering the spring locks. The spring locks then proceed to snap inside of the suit, impaling, puncturing, and tearing bits of William's flesh apart as he slowly bleeds out and dies. That sucks. William was essentially killed by a giant cupcake. Out of all of the animatronic antagonists in the Five Nights at Freddy's movie, so the Fazbear Band, Mr. Cupcake is potentially the most aggressive and hostile among them, with 2 failed attempts to kill and 2 successful attempts to kill. And this is where we can start to theorize why potentially Mr. Cupcake could be possessed by a dog's spirit. During the interaction between Carl and Mr. Cupcake does not seem at all threatened by Carl. He doesn't even seem bothered that Carl is just hanging around the kitchen. It is only when Mr. Cupcake reunites with Chica that he becomes aggressive to Carl. And I think that's because Chica told Mr. Cupcake to kill Carl. Again, going back to what I said earlier in the video, she is basically utilizing Mr. Cupcake as an attack dog. The same could be said for the attempt on Jeff's life. Chica told Mr. Cupcake to go into the vent and kill whoever was on the other side, which in this case happened to be Jeff. Notably, during the attempt on Mike's life, the cupcake can be heard growling as it bites on Mike's leg, wrenching it back and forth as Mike desperately tries to escape from the mouth, jaws, whatever, of this giant cupcake. The cupcake growls in a similar way that your dog might growl. The cupcake can also be seen at various times throughout the movie in different locations just watching a specific area, which to me seems like hunting behavior. So with everything that I've said, we can see the cupcake being told by Chica and other animatronics to kill, so basically being used as an attack dog. We hear the cupcake audibly make growling noises, and on top of that, we see the cupcake potentially hunting. Now, if I hadn't known that Susie did have a dog, I would simply say that people are looking too deep into this, and there's nothing really to these claims. But it's in the lore. It's known that Susie had a dog. I think that this is very possible, because there's enough evidence here to support the claims that the cupcake is Susie's dog, because we see the cupcake seemingly being told by animatronics to kill for them in the same way that a hunting dog or attack dog might. We see the cupcake seemingly demonstrating what looks like hunting behavior, not to mention this thing growls. When the animatronics turn against William, we see William try to talk them down. He tells them how small they are, how big he is. He tells them about how the horrible monsters they've become. And the cupcake is the first to attack William. Similar to how your dog might attack somebody if they are perceived a threat. If the dog thinks that they're hurting you or being mean to you, your dog will obviously attack that person. Similar to how we see Cupcake react to William while he's yelling at the animatronics. Like I said before, there's a lot of evidence that supports that Mr. Cupcake is actually a dog. And the Five Nights at Freddy's community has always been one to discuss theories, to further explain some of the more dark and cryptic lore of the Five Nights at Freddy's universe. And it seems like the movie is no exception to that. But with that being said, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. And with that, do take care, have a great night, and I'll see you in the next video.